Yeah, good evening and welcome to another edition of the Hamden Football Netball League Senior Footy Show. All thanks to our wonderful sponsors, of course, in the Hamden Football Netball League: McDonald's, Power Course, Sungold Milk, 3YB Coast FM, Southwest TAFE, Brandt, John Deere No Fear, Warrnambool Toyota are in there as well. Fresher Fruit Juice, Frolic Lane, Rafferty's Tavern, Flying Horse. The list goes on. There are some wonderful sponsors. Pit Stop Menswear, of course, but we can't thank those sponsors enough. As I say, a very good evening to Trenny Hill. Hilly, 6 rounds down, mate, and we had an absolute cracker. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on the weekend. 2 undefeated teams in South Warrnambool and Terang Mortlake, and the Bloods were fantastic on the weekend.
Yeah, watched the live stream, watched the call last week, and terrific game, albeit in really tough conditions, but I think Terang Mortlake are the real deal.
Yeah,
obviously,
absolutely.
They've played some really good dry weather footy. They're capable in the wet weather. Still didn't have Carlin or Taylor in there running around. So they're the real deal for the Bloods for mine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're going to get to the highlights a little bit later on, and then we've got round 7, which is going to be an absolute belter as well. One of our sponsors I just touched on, new sponsor in the Hamden Football Netball League. Great to have these boys on board. The boys from Brandt down at Terang, of course, and Marty Hall, John Ross. They do a magnificent job, and Marty Hall has been kind enough to join us tonight. Marty, how are you, big fella?
Good, boys. Thanks for having me on the show first time. So excited to be here.
I love it, mate. Hey, and we really appreciate you guys getting involved in the Hamden Football Netball League, of course, and even in our Hamden League live call, mate, the Brandt John Deere No Fear Player of the Day. We love calling that. But tell us about the business because you cover the whole Hamden football area, don't you, Marty?
Yeah, we do. So obviously, I'm based out of Terang, but we've got branches sort of all over sort of Victoria and into South Australia. So for us, if you sort of head west, you'll go across to our Hamilton branch. So obviously you've got the Hamilton Kangaroos there still, and we go right across to Colac and up to Ballarat. So we've got quite a large footprint across Victoria. And like I said, it doesn't stop there. We go into South Australia as well. So it was sort of a no-brainer for us to get involved with the Hamden Footy League. We have been involved with the Minnanira, and I think we still are involved with the Minnanira Footy League as well. So a lot of our customers are there every Saturday watching footy, so it makes sense to have our name against it as well.
Hawley, former Koroit superstar too, was Marty back in the day. Very good footballer and a great tennis player. Hawley, for the listener or for the viewers out there, I should say, tell us a bit about some of the machinery you guys have at Brandt, and obviously we know John Deere, a really strong brand in itself.
Yeah, look, we go everything from the residential, so from the guys that just want to jump on the mower and do the backyard, right through to looking after contractors that are harvesting. Well, harvesting at the moment, they're taking maize off the ground, and obviously over sort of November, December, they're doing silage. So we're looking at $1 million machines right down to the $1,000 machines and everything in between. So we've been lucky over the past 2 months as well to pick up the construction gear. So we've started to sell excavators and skid steers and these sorts of machines as well. So it's not just the agricultural customer that we're looking after, we're catering for the construction guys as well. So we're pretty excited to get a couple of excavators out and about Warrnambool and maybe get into a few of the plumbers' hands. So you'll start to see the boys going around these excavators in the next few weeks as well. So it just diversifies what we're doing here a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's great to see there's plenty of tradies, of course, too, especially in the Hamden Football Netball League. So they're all looking for that machinery to make the job a little bit easier. And that's what it's all about. And that's what the team of Brandt do. And it's a one-stop shop too, Marty, isn't it? Because you do all the after-sales, the servicing of the machines, absolutely everything.
Yeah, it's not just the sales. So big parts department here, a team of 4 here, and then the workshop here as well. So there's about 12 technicians at the moment. So look, it's a big operation, and we can do it all here.
Love it, mate. So as I always say, and I always implore, we support our sponsors. So if you get a chance or if you're in the market for anything, give Marty, give John a call, and they will absolutely look after you. So, that's what it's all about. And it's just great to have them involved. They're involved in the Grand Annual Steeplechase at the Warrnambool Racing Club, which is sensational and really, grassroots level, wanting to be more and more involved, which I think is fantastic. Marty, sensational to talk to you, mate, and thank you once again.
Good on you. Thanks, Stewie. Thanks, Hilly. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Mate, I didn't know the big fella's a tennis superstar.
Hey, mate, this bloke used to be a gun. And he was a very handy footballer as well at the Saints.
Yeah.
But his go-to was tennis.
Yeah, right.
He was very, very good with the racket, Marty. So
double up at the old Easter tournament or something back in Morton.
Morton Cup or something.
Get Marty in the team. Hey, special weekend this weekend for one of North Warrnambool's absolute superstars of the competition and of that club. And I'm speaking of Snooze Wines, Matty Wines, of course. Game number 300 for the North Warrnambool Eagles this weekend. And Snooze has been kind enough to join us. It is going to be a sensational week. And Snooze, the Eagles have taken it to the next level, mate. I saw on social media this afternoon, they've even got the Snooze Wines stubby holders, big fella. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I think Josh Wines might have organised those. I reckon they're selling like hotcakes, those things.
I'd say there'd be a Jim Beam can at the end of the day for Snoozy Wines just celebrating what's a big occasion in that stubby holder at the end of the game, I reckon.
But,
no doubt, that's for sure.
Mate, seriously though, 300 games, no mean feat. And we called you a couple of weeks ago against Cobden. And to be honest, I thought you were North's best that day, mate. So you certainly you're playing some great football, even though you're in the twilight of your career.
Yeah, well, the body's still feeling all right and still enjoying it. So it's, definitely helps, I suppose. And going all right. So it's good.
Hey, Snooze, tell us, when did you play your first senior game? Obviously, for 300 games, and the Eagles, I guess, in the latter part of your career have played a lot of finals. But before that, in the earlier days, you probably hadn't played a lot of finals to get those extra games. So you've been around the seniors for a little while, mate.
Yeah, I reckon my first game was probably 2005. We struggled early doors. We were getting done by 100 points nearly every week. So it was sort of a hard slog for probably the first 4 or 5 years. And then I reckon after the first 5 years, we probably started playing finals nearly every year from then on. So we had a lot of young fellas coming through those years, and they sort of stuck around, and we sort of built on year. So yeah.
Mate, what about playing with your brothers? They've been along the journey with you, mate. And I'm speaking of Adam and Luke, and I'm pretty sure Luke's flying back into town for the weekend, which is awesome. Great footballers in their own rights, but pretty special to be playing alongside a couple of brothers and for such a long period of time.
Yeah, it is. It's I suppose we played all from at home back in the day, running around, fighting with each other, and probably still doing the same now. It's pretty special, and not too many people get to do it, I suppose. So yeah, it's good, really good.
Hey, Snooze, I want to ask you, mate, obviously you've played a lot of senior football and you've had a lot of great players come through the North Warrnambool Eagles. Growing up, I know Dad, Ken's probably had a big influence on your career, but who's been someone else that's had a big influence on your footy career and has sort of helped you along the way?
I'd probably say Lee McCluskey. He was probably one of my first coaches and senior coaches. He was really good, knew his stuff. He's like Adam Dowie now. He put his research into the other sides, and he knew what he was talking about. He was really good for me, I think. Being a young player coming through with that, under him, he was probably my main one apart from the old man, yeah. And
people, shouldn't forget, your old man was an absolute superstar. He was a gun for a long period of time, mate. And no doubt he's had a massive influence on your career, and certainly someone to look up to, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he played 270-odd games himself. And, from all reports, he was a pretty good player. Not that I remember too much of him running around, but yeah.
Hey, Snooze, how are the Eagles tracking at the moment? Obviously, it's a really competitive year. You've had a couple of nice wins over the last couple of weeks. Do you feel like you're starting to get a bit of momentum now? Obviously, having a few injuries to some key players and I guess a bit of a personnel change to sort of rejig things a little bit with some young ones coming in?
Yeah, that's it. We've had a lot of young fellas coming in, and they're probably just getting better week on week. And with those injuries, sort of doesn't help, but it gives the young fellas a bit more of a chance. So, it's been good. We're sort of building, I think, and hopefully we can peak at the right time of the year this year. So, yeah.
And, mate, the game's moved out to Bushford. It was going to be originally at the Friendlies, which is great for yourself and your whole family and the whole club, to be honest. So you can have a really big celebration, on Saturday night after the game, win, lose or draw. You're unfortunately going to come up against the Roosters outfit, mate. That's on the rebound. You probably weren't expecting that, buddy.
Yeah, no, it worked out well in the end, I suppose. Yeah, and it'd be good to knock off the top side, or second side. So, yeah.
And, mate, I reckon a big night ahead too. I'm just looking at, I've seen a lot of social media stuff, and you're talking about the stubby holders before, Matt, but a big night planned, no doubt. And hopefully, I dare say you'll have a lot of mates that have been current teammates and past teammates that'll come and have a celebratory drink with you, buddy.
Yeah, no doubt. Most of my mates are from the footy club. It's been such a great place to be around, and so many good people out there. I've met my wife there, and it's all. I just love being there, I suppose. Yeah, that's why I've kept going.
Mate, what's the highlight for you, big fella? Like, you've played in a couple of losing grand finals. You've been so close to getting the major success. But what's the biggest highlight that stands out to you, mate?
Playing those grand finals is obviously good, apart from the losing side of it. But interleague games, maybe that first win we had against Port Fairy those years ago, I reckon we had 30-something losses in a row myself for me first 30-odd games, and then to win that one over Port Fairy, she was a big night that night, that was for sure.
I can remember the Eagles in the first ever year, 1997. Same thing, we rolled Koroit, and no one expected that. It was coming off the back of a May race week, and the poor old Saint, I think they ended up dropping Ants Marnie because he'd been down in the May races, hanging one on, I think, the big fella, and everything just played into our hands, and we didn't have the strongest side back in those days in that first year, but gee whiz, I reckon we celebrated for about a week. They know how to party at a Bushfield, Snooze.
Sorry, what was that?
They know how to party at a Bushfield.
Yeah, that's right. It's good fun.
Hey, mate, seriously, congratulations. It is a magnificent effort, mate. And, you've been just a wonderful player. You've played the game in great spirits your whole career. Just been a pleasure to watch and call. And, we just take our hat off to you, mate. It's a magnificent effort, and we wish you all the best of luck on the weekend, buddy.
No worries. Thanks, Matty. Thanks, Hilly. Thanks for that.
Good stuff, and we'll get him on in our pre-game on Saturday on the radio as well too. 300 games, mate. Like to reach 200 in this day and age is a great effort.
Yeah, and then 250 obviously gets your Hampton League life membership, but 300. I don't know the exact numbers, but there's a few. But I don't think there's that many that have actually played 300. So I'm thinking Wayne Risha, Damien Dobson,
or something, I reckon
Brendan Dobson. Yeah, there's not a lot. So he joins a pretty elusive group, doesn't he?
Yeah, fantastic performance, that is for sure. Hey, Hilly, let's go back to last weekend, round 6 action. Two undefeated teams, the Roosters and the Bloods. They were 5-0 heading into this contest, and we're going to have a look at some highlights now. It was a ripping game, played in trying conditions. The rain kind of come. It didn't come till probably 20 minutes into the first quarter, and the Bloods got off to an absolute fire. They had really sticky mitts early and played some great football, and they banked 4 goals on in that first quarter, and that was probably the margin in the end.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of South Warrnambool boys during the week, and they said they just got the jump early. Terang Mortlake, it was really hard to peg him back, and as you said, those conditions were really, really tough. This kid keeps on going well, doesn't he? Bailey Osborne. Doing some nice things in the goal square there. He's a really X-factor type player. He
got a double goal here too for a late push. So that was the first goal for the Roosters. They were 28 points down at that stage, then got another kick. So it was 2 goals in the space of 30 seconds, and kind of got them back into the contest a little bit, I thought.
And it looks like too that Terang Mortlake, I found a few nice players. New player Reece Buck. Every time I chucked on the live stream to see how the game was going, I could see Reece Buck getting a mention. So obviously he's a good youngster they've picked up, and he's got that little bit of experience, playing some senior footy at the Bloods.
No, he's a beauty. Reece Buck coming across from the Elmsford Cats, and they just got some great kids right across the board. Joey Arundel was fantastic. This kid, Xavier Vickers, he had a sensational game as well. Isaac Kanar was another one that lit him up early. Alex Maloney there at centre half back. Him and Sammy Kelly had an absolute sensational contest. Kane Johnson, it was his 21st. Last weekend, Will Kane, the Kane train. Plenty of upside for the Bloods. Look at that for a grab too. The big Kane train.
And I think that's the best thing about Terang Mortlake, that these guys like Vickers, Porter, Johnston, they've had a year of senior footy. They're going to be better off for it. And, obviously they're going to be able to have that confidence to match it with the big boys. This bloke's having a great season. Sam Kelly, really loving what he's doing. And it's a bit of a goal-kicking battle at the moment on the top of the league goal-kicking table with Kane and also Sam Kelly. So couple of new forwards sort of making their mark in the competition.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there was plenty of Lucas Brothers Snag of the Day contenders last week, Hilly, and our Matco highlight of the day. There's plenty of them. Even though it was sticky conditions, at times, it was played at a pretty good standard and two really good teams. And I think it's opened the comp right up because, South's still the team to beat, Hilly. They've got some quality players out. That are going to come back into this side. Harry Lee, Liam Ewell, George Stevens, possibly Lamont Lawal. Shannon Becks. They're the big names. Liam Mullen's another one. Yep. To come back into that side. But on the flip side, the Bloods still didn't have Scotty Carlin on the weekend. They didn't have Louis Taylor.
Yeah.
So, I reckon it all bodes well. And look, and the other team that's going really well is Camperdown.
Yeah.
And that form's been frank since round one, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been. They're on the Swain train's going beautifully. They're going a good brand of footy. And as I said last week, I really love the way they're going about it to Hamish Sinnott. They're not relying on Sam Gordon to kick all the goals.
Yeah.
They're having a real good nucleus of goal kickers each week. And again, they're another side. They had to blood out of necessity a heap of young kids. They're a 12-month better off footballer in the Hampton League now, able to have that confidence to match it with your bigger sides like Croydon and Warrnambool and North Warrnambool and the like.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Hilly. Hey, this weekend, round 7 action, our match of the day. Port Fairy taking on the Cobden Bombers. This is going to be a beauty, I reckon, Hilly, because Seagulls have been good in every game they've played this year. Cobden trailed for virtually 3/4 last week against Portland. Only got over the line. And it's a big game for the Cobden Bombers, but it's also equally as big for Port Fairy.
Yeah, well, we're round 7 this weekend, and I think, if Port Fairy drop another one, it starts getting a little bit harder to that top 5 calculations, whereas on the flip side, Cobden, they want to keep winning what they're 4-2 at the moment. 5-2 just gives them a little bit of stability in that top 5 because we know it's going to be pretty tight at the very end of the season because there's been a lot of even games. Look, Croyd's outside the top 5 at the moment, which, is a rarity. Camperdown are in there, Terang, Mortlake, South, Warrnambool, North Warrnambool. It's going to be a real logjam.
No, absolutely. It is. Other games too, as we just touched on. Snooze Wines game 300. North Warrnambool, South Warrnambool. Roosters on the rebound. Eagles got a fair bit to play for with Snoozers 300. And it could be a bit of a statement game too for the Eagles if they can get up and get across the line against the Roosters.
Well, I think just back to last year, I reckon North South Warrnambool went out to Bushfield last year, overwhelming favourites against the North Warrnambool Eagles, and the North Warrnambool Eagles upstaged them in the end. So I don't think it's a lay down misère that Roosters get the job done. I think they go in, and I honestly think they'll win, but gee, I reckon North, to play for one of their favourite sons, they'll give everything.
Yeah, absolutely, they will. Other games, we've got Portland taking on the Camperdown Magpies. You'd expect, Hilly, Magpies will get the job done on the road, but Portland have been good in patches.
Well, you look at last week, they led Cobden for 3/4, and it was only an 8-goal quarter in the last quarter for the Bombers to get them over the line. So I wouldn't underestimate the Tigers. Camperdown, you go as favourites go into the game, though.
And another big game, too. I reckon the Blue Baggers, they need a scalp. They play Terang Mortlake up at the Reed Oval. Not going to be an easy task because I reckon the Bloods, the bigger the ground, I reckon the better they're going to be. And possibly might get Scotty Carlin back. I think Louis Taylor's 2 weeks away.
Yep.
It's pretty exciting. That's going to be a really good game up there.
Well, I was talking to a couple of Warrnambool people during the week, and I reckon they saw some really good glimpses of their system. It looked really great last week at Melville Oval, albeit in a smaller ground. But Cody kicked 6, Ryan kicked 4, so their forward line's starting to gel and get that synergy now. So I think the Blues are a real chance in this one. I still think the Bloods, but I think the Blues will certainly give it their all.
And the final game, of course, is Koroit taking on the Hamilton Kangaroos out of Victoria Park in Koroit. And same thing. Kangas have been good in patches. They just can't put 4/4 together.
Yeah, and they're looking for that first win. So, it's not going to be far away because they're not a side that should be going this far into the season where they're lost. So they're a lot better than what their results have shown. But I think Croyd will be looking to get a rebound game as well, dropping against Camperdown last week. So,
love it.
Interesting.
It's going to be an absolute wonderful round 7 action in the Hampton Football Netball League. Make sure you get along and support your team because we have had some really ripping games thus far, not only on the football but also in the netball. It has been a great start. We've still got plenty more to come. And don't forget the big Clinton Bosch Under-23 competition coming up. The Hampton Football Netball League taking on the Ballarat Football League. and that is on Saturday, July 1st at Mars Stadium. Squads will be announced in the next couple of weeks, which is really exciting. John O'Brien coaching. Big Vards is on board on the coaching panel as well now. Doc O'Keefe, Chris McLaren, Adam Dowie. All the coaches are involved. It's great to see. There will be a 17 under game as well. I'm pretty sure Big BT is looking after that one, Brett Taylor. So plenty going on. Hilly, I look forward to, you're not there this weekend.
No, I'm away again this weekend, so just having another little weekend off for a big finish to the season.
Mate, I had to call by myself last weekend. Possum had COVID, and gee whiz, I couldn't even watch a race or anything on the phone. I had to watch the whole
Lucky
game.
you didn't have Ice Kelson there with you.
Mate, seriously, it was a tough old day, and it was muddy and wet, and the rain was howling in, but we got through unscathed, which is fantastic. We hope to see you this weekend, round 7 action in the Handon Football Netball League.